Hello, welcome to our show, Crooked Doctors. Today is Friday, September 23rd, 2011. If you have any questions for us, you can call us at 212-245-7273. That's 212-245-7273. This is a live call-in show. It's kind of like radio being broadcast. We do tape live. The tapes are being put up on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and in the YouTube search bar type in Crooked Doctors, you'll see the unedited hour-long programs. They're going up. I think they're all up except for the last 3. Last week we had Dr. Stephen DeLuca. He is running for county executive in Hudson County, and we'll get to that in just a minute. I'm so flabbergasted, so shocked about the events of last week and this week that I really don't know where to start. And I discovered, we're going to do a lot in this show, and what we're going to do is, towards the end of the show, I'm going to take about 10 minutes to make 4 corrections. So in about 14 hours of broadcasting, I've made about 4 errors. Not really errors, they're kind of like misstatements that I'd like to correct. So I'm going to do that in the last 10 minutes of the show. Just in case if you happen to be reviewing the show on YouTube and you see the unedited versions, there are a few misstatements that I made and I'd like to correct them. These are important elements in litigation points that I want to make sure I get abundantly clear. In this show, there was, let me just cut to the chase here. There was a special meeting yesterday of the Hudson County Board of Freeholders. And what they discussed at this special meeting was firing people, thank God. Firing people based on the evidence that I put in their hands. This is an email that I sent to Freeholder O'Day. He's the chairman of the Freeholders Board this year. I also placed hard copies into the hands of the Chief of Staff of Hudson County Executive Tom DeGeese. His Chief of Staff was at that meeting, and I placed a hard copy in his hands. I also placed a hard copy of this email into the hands of Freeholder Jose, I want to make sure I get his name correct, Freeholder Jose Mundos, M-U-N-O-Z, Jose Mundos, in District 7. Now, why is this all really important? As you know, my show is about crooked doctors. Crooked doctors at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University that stalked me through life, harassed me, orchestrated physical assault, are directly responsible for physical assaults on me that left me with serious bodily injury, could have left me paralyzed or dead, did not stop their criminal activity, lied to have me illegally prosecuted, lied to have me illegally incarcerated, and even as recently as the last few months, are responsible for continuing to lie in federal court. Dan Rozelle is outside counsel for Yeshiva University, and as recently as July of this year has lied in federal court. I discovered last week, and I'm still so shocked I can't get over it. I discovered last week that the city prosecutor in New Jersey, in Jersey City, had evidence in his hands that showed that I was telling the truth. The city prosecutor in Jersey City had in his hands my educational records, at least by February of 2009, that showed that I was telling the truth, and attorneys, notably Associate General Counsel John Scarfone, lied about me. Yeshiva University pays John Scarfone, that's Associate General Counsel John Scarfone, a very good salary to go into federal court and lie. And in 2006, John Scarfone went into federal court and lied about me. I have, and I continue to have, a legitimate purpose in contacting my medical school and asking for my complete unedited records, my educational records, my financial records, and my medical records. All of my records, including all reports to outside agencies. My medical school has lied about my past. And who had this information that showed that I was telling the truth? The Jersey City prosecutor, at least by February of 2009, had irrefutable documentary evidence in his hands to show that I was telling the truth and that my medical school, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, lied about me. And what did the Jersey City prosecutor and Jersey City Medical Center, who also had this information in their hands, what did they do with this information? They deliberately concealed it. Why? So that my medical school could go forum shopping. They had to find a place where they could press false criminal charges against me, and they couldn't do it in Jersey City, so they went forum shopping. They were going to try to press false criminal charges against me in Nassau County, where John Scarfone claimed he had a connection to the Nassau County District Attorney's Office. And the evidence for this is an email that has already been released where John Scarfone discusses this. But they couldn't press false criminal charges against me in Nassau County because of the Nassau County Civic Association. And I'm going to take you to their website right now. This is the website of the Nassau County Civic Association. And if it were not for these good people, and I say this without exaggeration, I would be dead today. I'm still scared to death. Let me see if I can pull up their website for you. Hold on just one second. Okay, I'm having a few technical glitches with my surfing my internet here. So, here we go. Let me change the view here. Hold it. Here we go. This is the Nassau County Civic Association. And when my medical school thought that they would press false criminal charges against me in 2009, it was because these people existed and would not have it. This is the Nassau County Civic Association. This is their website. These good people gave me a forum. They had meetings where literally 100, 200, 300 people would show up. They said, go talk, hand out your flyers, tell people what's happening to you, ask folks to make phone calls for you. The people at the Nassau County Civic Association actually made phone calls for me. They had experience with crime and corruption. There was one gentleman that was fighting crime and corruption. He was beaten up, got up and walked out of a hospital bed with a concussion to continue to fight the good fight, and he made phone calls for me. So I want to say thank you again to the Nassau County Civic Association. If it were not for people of good conscience at the Nassau County Civic Association, I would be dead today. And I say that without exaggeration. Last week, I went down to Jersey City Medical Center with witnesses and discovered that Jersey City Medical Center had my educational records in its hands from February of 2009, and deliberately, willingly, knowingly, willfully, with criminal intent, Jersey City Medical Center kept my educational records from me, and those records show that I was telling the truth, and the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University lied. Now here's what I need from you. This is not just about me putting facts on the records. The Albert Einstein College of Medicine is a clear and present danger. So last night, there was a special meeting of the Hudson County freeholders. And let me show you how the relationships work. I'm living in Jersey. I'm living in the town of Jersey City. Now, this is not some schlock, town here. This is like the second biggest town in the state of New Jersey. So I'm living in Jersey City. My medical school is over here in New York. And my medical school has contact with the principal actors in Jersey City. And the Jersey City prosecutor got his hands on my educational records. I was dragged into court to face false criminal charges because I was going through frivolous eviction procedures with my landlords. My landlords were stooges for my medical school. Judge Nino Falcone is a stooge for my medical school. My landlords are living in North Bergen. They own property in Jersey City. I'm renting an apartment. And apparently I was making too much trouble in advocating for my rights. If I had a job, I would be harassed at my job. If I have an apartment, I'll be harassed in my apartment. My landlords went and filed false criminal charges against me, claiming that they were annoyed by the city's heat inspectors when in October of 2007, I had to call the city's heat inspectors and get them to have my landlords turn on the heat in my apartment. Because 2 weeks before, in retaliation, I had won against my landlords in court. So they decided to retaliate against me by not turning on the heat in October of 2007. And then, because there was contact between my medical school, between my landlords and the dishonest attorney they had hired, my landlords lived in North Bergen, which is the next town over from Jersey City, sort of the next town over. And they hired dishonest municipal court judge Nino Falcone. Remember that name, Nino Falcone. He's dishonest. He lied. When he lost against me in court, he lied. I can't believe he actually did this. He picked up a phone and he lied to Jersey City Medical Center. He was so angry and so frustrated against losing against me in court that this man, and he's not a child, he's an adult man who is the municipal court judge in North Bergen, picked up the phone and called a hospital and lied about me. Do you have any idea how sick that is? That's sick. So my landlords hired this dishonest attorney who functions as who's on the payroll, the county payroll, as a municipal court judge in North Bergen. And he came to Jersey City and he pursued frivolous evictions against me. Now, there was no grounds for an eviction. I had done nothing wrong. I was being harassed by fabricated arguments out of my apartment. And my landlords were in contact with my medical school. In fact, I had a conversation with my landlord, Ralph Pagnosi, and I said, look, I have no problem I don't want to cause problems for you, Ralph. If you think you can get a better price for this apartment, that's fine with me. I'd like to move, but here's my problem. My medical school has falsified my records, all my records, including my financial records. And they claim ultimately they falsified so many financial records that they had me illegally declared in default on a federal student loan that I was not eligible to receive. And the black mark of a defaulted student loan is on my credit reports for life. So my landlords knew what was going on because I informed them in February of 2007. Everybody in Jersey City knew that my medical school was a pack of liars and they were lying about me. And in February, at least, of 2009, there was an investigation in Jersey City, and the Jersey City prosecutor got his hands on my educational records and didn't give them to me, because in February of 2009, had the city prosecutor given my educational records to, I want you to think about this for a minute. I'm the student. I paid the tuitions and fees that caused my educational records to be created and maintained, and I can't get them, but the Jersey City prosecutor has them and deliberately concealed them from me. Why? Because in February of 2009, this little criminal gang that includes my medical school, my landlords, Principal actors in Jersey City, including corrupt judges, corrupt police, and the corrupt medical center, have a nice little criminal conspiracy where they want to discredit me as a witness. And there's the Jersey City prosecutor with my educational records that show that I'm telling the truth and my medical school is lying. And they deliberately concealed that in February of 2009 so that in July of 2009, my medical school could go to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and file false criminal charges against me in July of 2009. So from July of 2009, for an entire year, I'm fighting false criminal charges in Manhattan. My medical school manipulated the system so that I would be put in Rikers Island for almost a year. And after 2 years, I finally fight my way out of an illegal incarceration, out of a corrupt prison system, only to find that the doctors at Jersey City Medical Center, and I'm going to name them because they're dangerous to others. They are a clear and present danger. The doctors at Jersey City Medical Center deliberately, knowingly, willfully, maliciously, with criminal intent, concealed my educational records from me so that I could be prosecuted and put in jail and stigmatized. That's sick. That is really, really sick. They'll do it to you. So, here we are at the city level, and I went to the county, Hudson County, and I've been placing this evidence on the records to the freeholders. The freeholders are at the county level, and they're responsible for what goes on in this town. The Hudson County executive is a guy named Tom DeGeese. He has the power to hire and fire, and he needs to fire these people immediately because they are dangerous to others. They almost murdered me. I'm going to show you the records that I discovered. But before I do that, here's what I want to do. I'm going to give you the phone numbers of people to call. This is freeholder O'Day, William O'Day, and his phone number is 201-332-1187. Captain Romano is a freeholder in Hudson County. His phone number is 201-780-3296. Freeholder O'Day and Captain Romano. Captain Romano, by the way, is a police officer at the Hoboken Police Department. They had a special meeting with the other freeholders last night as part of the Public Safety Committee to discuss recommendations for firing people in Jersey City because these people are dangerous. The prosecutor, the Jersey City prosecutor who obstructed justice, the police officers who refused to protect me and my family, Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, as recently as last week, threatened me, banned me from the courthouse that's located in Newark Avenue, and in front of a witness who will show up and testify at the next freeholders meeting, told me through the police department that if I were to enter the building on Newark Avenue, this is the courthouse in Jersey City on Newark Avenue, that she would have me taken by force, arrested. She would, if I called her boss. Debbie Simon is third in command at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. She's got a boss, and then Ed DeFazio is the elected official. If I called her boss to let him know the facts that Debbie Simon has run amok, Debbie Simon is out of control in Jersey City, and she's dangerous to others. She told me 2.5 years ago that she would do an investigation, and on a tape-recorded conversation that has been placed up on the internet so everyone can listen to it, Bryna Kaiser Director of Medical Records confirms with me most recently that Debbie Simon never even requested my records. Now, in order to do an investigation, Debbie Simon told me as a preliminary first step, she would have to get my records from Jersey City Medical Center. She never even requested those records. That means for the past 2.5 years, Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office has been lying. And had she requested those records, what would she have found? Let's go look. Okay, this is what we're going to look at. Now, my medical school pressed false criminal charges against me. John Scarfone was a complaining witness. John Scarfone is Associate General Counsel at Yeshiva University, and he claimed that he was annoyed that I should call and ask for my records. This is an attorney that went into court in 2006 and lied about me. Now, I could go lie after lie after lie after lie, but the bottom line is, what you folks need to know is that the Albert Einstein College of Medicine is dangerous to others, and this school needs to be closed. Now, I worked at Senator Moynihan's office before I went to medical school, and the government has been looking to close a medical school for at least the last 30 years or so. But what school are they going to close? And by the way, all the medical schools in New York are freaked out about this. So they're all trying to consolidate with each other, make deals with each other so they can stay open. My medical school, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, claimed that it had a niche that nobody else could fill. And my medical school claimed that it was holding itself out to the general public as having expertise in the field of psychiatry. So they were trying to say, you can't close this medical school because we have a specific niche that we fill, and this medical school has to stay open. So all the other medical schools are scrambling to try to find reasons to stay open, either by geographic area or, the population that they serve. You don't want to close this school because it serves a poor population. You can't close this school because there's no neighboring schools near around. So everybody's jockeying for a position and trying to make up real good reasons about don't close this medical school. Why? Because medical schools bring in lots of money for their mother universities. So the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, located in the Bronx, decided that it would fill a niche, and it held itself out to the general public as having expertise in psychiatry. So when that medical school deliberately, maliciously, intentionally, willfully, with criminal intent, stalks students throughout their life, claiming that there's something wrong with them when there's not, and I'm the third student that they've done this to, they've demonstrated that they do not have expertise in psychiatry. They're just a bunch of liars. And they lie about a student's past, and they lied about mine. Now, I can give you example after example after example, but I'm trying to present to you the easiest to understand examples. So one of those examples is in 2006, I was named as a witness against my medical school. And in order to discredit me as a witness, John Scarfone, that's Associate General Counsel John Scarfone, went into federal court and lied about me. And here's the easy to understand example. Here's what he said. Miss Radin failed all her classes. In fact, Todd Olson's anatomy class is the only class Miss Radin passed during her first year of medical school. Okay, let me bring this down a little bit so you can see it. Okay, in fact, Dr. Olson's anatomy course is the only class Miss Radin passed during her first year of medical school. Todd Olson is not a medical doctor. He's a PhD. And from what I understand, and I haven't been able to confirm this yet, he wanted to be a doctor, could not get into medical school, went to a foreign school, couldn't be a doctor there, and then defaulted out to get a PhD, and that's how his career path was cooled out. But the bottom line is, he's not a medical doctor. And that'll be an important fact later. So, what they were trying to say was that Todd Olson is such a nice guy that his was the only class that I passed. And that's not true. Todd Olson is not a nice guy. He's a liar, and he's dangerous to others. So in 2006, another student called me up and said, would you testify against these people? Yes, I will, because there's no one else like me who knows the nightmare that you're going through, because I know that these people are liars, and I know that they destroy the lives of innocent people. They stalked me like an animal throughout life, telling lie after lie after lie. And this isn't just the fact that they falsify records or that they rumor monger. They use these lies and these false records to make sure to manipulate civilian government, so that not only does civilian government not protect you, but I was physically assaulted and almost murdered by these people. It didn't stop at Jersey City. I was persecuted through Manhattan. Most recently, after I fought my way out of prison, there were phony phone calls to the apartment where I'm staying, making up all kinds of lies. The apartment where I was staying most recently, is just a few months ago, was stormed by the police, and they weren't real happy about this. Can you imagine how sick that is? That you would actually, that these psychopaths would actually make phony 911 calls? Actually, if I go back a few months, there's a really nice guy in Jersey City. His name is Constable William Sanchez, and he's a process server, so he had served some subpoenas for me in Jersey City. He's very good at it, actually. So I would highly recommend William Sanchez as a process server if you're in Jersey City or thereabouts. He's very professional. He gets the work done. He was very good. I was very glad I used him. He was willing. He'd known me. He knew I was a person of good character. He was willing. I called him when I was falsely imprisoned, illegally incarcerated at Rikers Island, and he was willing to come to Rikers Island and get the evidence from me and publicize it on the internet so people would know that I was telling the truth. When I got out of Rikers Island, what he shared with me, and these phone calls can be traced, he got, shortly after I called him and shortly after he agreed to come to Rikers Island to help me, he received a phony phone call from someone who claimed to be from the United States Department of Justice. It's ridiculous. And William Sanchez was frightened away, terrorized from coming to Rikers Island to visit me, where he was told that I was not receiving visitors at Rikers Island. Now, do you know how sick that is? That someone would call up a constable and lie because they didn't want the evidence to get out there? Do you know how profoundly disturbed that is? These people will stalk you through life like an animal. So, John Scarfo, in other words, they're dangerous to others. They need to be stopped. At Jersey City, the Hudson County executive needs to fire people, and Jersey City Medical Center needs to be decertified from doing business with the county. Now, you're not doing this for me. You're doing this for yourselves, because I'm going to tell you right now, what these people are telling Mayor Healy and the other people in town is, you don't run your town. Jersey City, dishonest doctors at Jersey City Medical Center do. And that's not true. So I asked for an appointment 3 times. I went to Mayor Healy personally and asked for an appointment because, Mayor Healy, this is your town. So, let me bring this up for a minute. This is the document that shows that John Scarfone went to federal court in 2009. I'm sorry, let me correct that, in 2006 and lied about me. They lie about a student's past. In fact, Dr. Olson's anatomy course is the only class Miss Radin passed during her first year in medical school. That's a lie. And here's what I discovered as recently as last week. My educational records that show this is a lie have the sticker from Jersey City Medical Center on it. And we're going to look at that sticker and look at the date. Okay? So this is my performance evaluation from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Whoops. the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. This is Introduction to Clinical Medicine. Okay, obviously I did not fail this course. Okay? And I did this clinical selective at the Hebrew Home for the Aged. I did not fail this class, and I want you to take a look at the overall gestalt. Down here is a sticker from Jersey City Medical Center. And let's look at that date. The date on this is February 24th, 2009. Okay? Let me enlarge this. Okay? Now, I'm the student. These are my educational records. My medical school won't give me my records. There ensues a knockdown, drag-out legal battle that's going on today. Today, I have to write to Judge Simpson in criminal court and say, this subpoena for my records was never enforced. So I have to make a list of all the records that my medical school still is concealing to try to discredit me as a witness. I go into federal court with Judge Patterson in 2004, and he makes up stories about how I, as a former student, can't access and correct my records. And here is Jersey City Medical Center that's got its hands on my records. Can you imagine? I'm the student. I can't get my hands on my records, but some doctor somewhere in a town somewhere got my records. If they accessed my records without my knowledge or consent, which is clearly what they did, then they violated my rights under FERPA, that's Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. The only way they could have gotten their hands on my records is through a subpoena. And they got a subpoena through the Jersey City prosecutor who had this evidence in his hands, working in an organized criminal conspiracy with the Jersey City Medical Center. And you need to know who these people are so you can stay away from them. Stacy Dix-Kubiowski, have nothing to do with her. She falsified medical records. September 12, 2008, she created a screening document to try to discredit me. I showed Miss Stacy Dix-Kubiowski, these are the bills from Sally Mae. These are the postmarked envelopes. I explained to Stacy Dix-Kubiowski, this is how my medical center has lied to steal money in a federal student loan program. This is how my medical school has lied to steal money in a state TAP program. This is how my medical school has lied to steal money in a federal Pell Grant program. And none of that is reflected in the screening document that Stacy Dix-Kubiowski made on September 12, 2008. In other words, Stacy Dix-Kubiowski is a liar. She deliberately omitted information. The screening document that this hospital made on September 25, 2008 is also a lie. This hospital never treated and released me on September 25, 2008. They lied. The screening document that they created on September 25, 2008 is fraud. The screening document from September 30th, 2008 that shows that dishonest municipal court judge from North Bergen, Nino Falcone, lied to a hospital has been deliberately omitted from my records at Jersey City Medical Center to make a false record. These are not bona fide real medical records. This is wholesale fraud. And what this document shows, these are my educational records that they have. You see the date here, September 24th, 2009? Okay. These are my performance evaluations for Introduction to Clinical Medicine that show John Scarfone lied. So this hospital has my educational records and deliberately concealed them from me. Now, what's important about this is I get my hands on these records, and you know what they show? They show that my educational records are part of the records that they created at this medical center, But when my doctors from New York were faxing in information, I was trying to recover at this period of time from spinal injuries. My doctors in New York, and I have a pain management team, my doctor in New York was a neurologist who was board certified in psychiatry. And during the time that Jersey City Medical Center physically assaulted me and committed the crime of false imprisonment, I called up my doctors in New York and had them fax my medical records to show that there was nothing wrong with me, and if there was a problem, they would have taken care of it, that I was not in a manic state, that I was not mentally ill, that aside from trying to recover from 5 herniated discs and a pinched nerve, I was fine. They faxed the medical records in, and the doctors at Jersey City Medical Center destroyed those records. And then Vice President Jim Martin told me a pack of lies. So let me. I just want to show this really quick. That's one educational record. Here's another educational record. Here's another record that this is from Jersey City Medical Center. As recently as last week, I go to the medical center and look what I discover. Look what I discovered. The hospital label on this, okay? My performance evaluations that showed that I passed Introduction to Clinical Medicine, Part A, Part B, Part C. Introduction to Clinical Medicine is like a year-long program, a year-long class, and it had Part A, Introduction to the Patient. It had Part B, for example, clinical selective that I did at the Hebrew, a rotation that I did at the Hebrew Home for the Aged. Part C, Introduction to Psychopathology. I didn't fail any of these classes. So when John Scarfone went into federal court in 2006 to discredit me and say that I'd failed all my classes except for Todd Olson's anatomy class, he lied. And these performance evaluations show that he lied. In February of 2009, Jersey City Medical Center and the Jersey City prosecutor had these records and deliberately concealed them from me so that I could be persecuted in Manhattan. Do you have any idea how sick that is? So what I would like you to do, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, because I need your voices. If you live in Manhattan, if you live in New York, if you live in Jersey City, the people who can put a stop to this, or at least start making steps to putting a stop to this, is Freeholder O'Day. Jersey City Medical Center is the town here. This is Jersey City, and the freeholders are part of the Hudson County, the county government. They oversee what happens in their cities. And the Hudson County executive is a guy named Tom DeGeese. I will be informing him and asking him to fire people. Yesterday, there was a special meeting right after the regularly scheduled freeholders meeting of the Public Safety Committee, because you can't have a prosecutor in town who lies. You can't have a medical center that deliberately obstructs justice, engages in evidence tampering, witness tampering, obstruction of justice. You can't have these people running amok in your town. Judge Nestle A. Rodriguez had her hands on this information and concealed it. Judge Moreno lied and tried to misconstrue words on an audio tape when I had gone into Jersey City Municipal Court to plead guilty to a minor traffic violation. She tried to misconstrue. She tried to misconstrue. I gave these people ample information where they could have put a stop to crimes toward me. Instead, they cooperated in the crimes. This is an ongoing criminal conspiracy. And I've asked Freeholder O'Day, I've asked Freeholder O'Day and Captain Romano, who are 2 freeholders. These are their phone numbers. If you want to do something to protect yourself, we're not talking about me anymore, because my medical school has stalked me like an animal for 22 years. They've ruined my life. I have 5 herniated, they've ruined my health. I have 5 herniated discs and a pinched nerve. I'm the third student they've done this to, and finally we're making steps in Jersey City to put a stop to this. So you're not making these phone calls to help or protect me, because my life is pretty much destroyed by these people. You're doing this so you put a stop to it, to this crime and corruption, so they don't ruin your life. Okay, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine is a clear and present danger. This is the medical school that needs to be closed in New York. The medical school that will lie about students, stalk them through life like animals, claim that they're mentally ill terrorists when they're not, lie about their pasts. I mean, at the very least, what you know is that this is a school that purports to be so grossly incompetent that they don't know what classes a student took, when that student took those classes, or whether they passed or failed those classes or not. That's ridiculous. This is a medical school that purports to be a religious, an Orthodox Jewish religious institution, will pay attorneys to lie in court. I know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't this, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, Rabbi Lamb. And by the way, I can and will take the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and Yeshiva University to the rabbis and have them declared not kosher. Who would be against this? Not any of the schools in New York, NYU, Columbia, any of the medical schools would not be against this, because one of these schools has to close. The school that lies about its students, that stalks them through life. I'm the third student that they stalked like an animal and tried to say was psychotic and schizophrenic when I'm not. They did this to Dr. Garg. They almost ruined his life. And Dr. Garg's attorney, Dr. Garg was a student at my medical school before me. Dr. Garg had witnessed a medical malpractice. The school was afraid that Dr. Garg would be a witness against them. So they railroaded Dr. Garg out of medical school, claimed he was psychotic and schizophrenic. He's not. He went to a foreign school. He got his medical degree, and he's a successful practicing physician in the United States today without any mental disease or defect that would preclude him from the successful practice of medicine. His attorneys found another student that the school tried to label as psychotic, but they gave the school a medical degree anyway. So the Albert Einstein College of Medicine is a school where the standards are so low that contact with reality is not a requirement for the medical degree. So here's my Saturday Night Live commercial. Are you lazy, sloppy, stupid? Does your father have money? Are you Jewish? Come to the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, where the standards are so low that contact with reality is not a requirement for the medical degree. That's not anti-Semitic. That's the truth. This is the school that needs to be closed. In Jersey, the Jersey City Medical Center will cooperate with the school. They will have the evidence in their hands, and they will deliberately conceal it for years so that an innocent person like me can be persecuted and drop-kicked into prison. And God knows what it's going to take to clear my name. Jersey City Medical Center is a clear and present danger. They are dangerous to others, have nothing to do with this hospital. And if you want to do something to protect yours, now this is Jersey City. This is the second largest town in the state of New Jersey. This is Jersey City Medical Center. And by the way, when I go to the freeholders meeting, other hospitals show up and they talk about the deceptive and dirty tricks and dirty practices at this hospital. And they complain to the freeholders. Not only that, when I was drop-kicked into Jersey City Medical Center, you wouldn't believe the stories that I was told. They pick people off the streets, drag them into their psych ward, and hold them as prisoners based on all kinds of stupid stories so they can just get the money. Let me give you two examples. There was one gentleman who was running and took his shirt off. And it was cold, so the police took him off the streets and said, "There's something wrong with you. It's cold," and he took his shirt off. And he's like, "Yeah, I was running. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not a psych patient." There was another person that the police had pulled off the streets and dragged into Jersey City Psych Ward because they claimed he was talking to himself. was like, yeah, I've got my cell phone in my ear, and you're viewing me from this side where you can't see my cell phone in my ear, and I'm talking to someone on the phone. Now, these people know better, okay? All they're trying to do is drag people into their psych ward, stigmatize them, and then run up a great big bill for somebody else to pay. In my case, it's Medicaid fraud. Now, if you want to do something about this, like save your own life, please give Freeholder O'Day at 201-332-1187 a phone call and say, you need to fire people in Jersey City, and you need to decertify the medical center from providing services to the county. And you can call Captain Romano. Captain Romano is a freeholder. He's also a police officer in Hoboken. His phone number is 201-780-3296. And you need to say, Freeholder Romano, please decertify Jersey City Medical Center as being able to do business with the county, and please start firing people. Tom DeGeese is the county executive. He has the power to hire and fire. I will be providing him with this information, and I will be asking him to fire people and to decertify the medical center. And this is the email that I'm going to post on. I handed this email, which has the facts, to his chief of staff yesterday at the regular freeholders meeting, and then they had a special meeting of the Public Safety Committee. I just can't, I'm just flabbergasted that a medical center would have the evidence to show that I was telling the truth, and they would deliberately conceal it for 2 years from me and my attorneys. Let's look at that again. This is the medical sticker from, and let's all look at that date, February 24th, 2009. This is from my performance evaluation. First of all, I'm not their patient. This is my performance evaluation from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, that Jersey City Medical Center. This is Introduction to Clinical Medicine. Jersey City Medical Center had this. This is their label. This is their sticker that shows that I was telling the truth and my medical school was lying about me. And here's another one. Here's another one that they have. This is, again, a performance evaluation from my medical school that shows that I was telling the truth and my school was lying. The medical center and Jersey City prosecutor, here's the label right here, had this information in their hands and concealed it for 2 years so that I could be falsely imprisoned at Rikers Island, where instead of having the surgery that I needed for the 5 herniated discs and the pinched nerve that I have right here, this is February 24th, 2009, I was supposed to have surgery for 5 herniated discs and a pinched nerve, and instead of having surgery at Rikers Island Prison, a guard threw me on my back and dragged me by my arm, making my spinal injuries worse. And the videotape that shows that, I'm sure, has been destroyed by now. At Rikers Island Prison, I was physically assaulted by an inmate, Tasha Wright, who took her hand, struck me in the face, and snapped my neck back to make my herniated discs in my neck worse. I've been walking around with headaches since then, and that's indicative of a very serious life-threatening condition. There was another inmate on videotape. Oh, by the way, Tasha Wright physically assaulted me on videotape. There was another inmate on videotape who physically assaulted me and made my spinal injuries worse. An internal medicine doctor, you're facing the risk of death. So the doctors at Jersey City Medical Center that could have put a stop to this instead allowed me to be brutalized for the last 2 years, have my spinal injuries made worse, and now I'm facing paralysis or death. These people are monsters. You want nothing to do with Jersey City Medical Center. You want nothing to do with the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University. There's a couple, I have 10 minutes left in the show, and there's a couple corrections that I have to make. As I was reviewing the videotapes that are going up on YouTube, there's a few points I'd like to clarify. Here's point number one, and this is for the federal courts, my student federal court. There's a 2-year fraud discovery rule in my underlying civil claims, and there's a 1-year fraud discovery rule for criminal prosecution. So let me say that again. There's a 2-year fraud discovery rule in civil cases, and I quote Judge Patterson here. In his 2005 ruling, he also says this. There's a 2-year fraud discovery rule in civil cases, and there's a 1-year fraud discovery rule in criminal prosecution. Now, Judge Patterson, in his May 2005 ruling, says there's a 2-year fraud discovery rule in civil cases, and we know that there's a 1-year fraud discovery rule for larceny in the context of a fiduciary duty, because we've looked at the statutes, and this was where Linda Tacoma from the Bronx District Attorney's Office lied to Congressman Weiner's office to give him incomplete, inaccurate information to mislead an elected official. So I wanted to make that clear. On some of the unedited tapes that are going up, I confused Debbie Simon's last name with Judge Simpson's last name. So let me make it clear. Debbie Simon is third in command at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Debbie Simon has been lying for 2.5 years, and I inadvertently misspoke and confused her last name with Judge Simpson's. So it's Judge Simpson in criminal court in Manhattan. She's responsible for enforcing a subpoena for my records. So it's Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office and Judge Simpson, I think it's Shondia L. Simpson in Manhattan Criminal Court. So it's Judge Simpson in Manhattan Court, and it's Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. I also wanted to make another correction about TAP money going into the school. TAP is the tuition assistance program. This is state money, and irrespective of federal student loan fraud and all the statutes and all the games and all the nonsense, all the lies that my medical school told to steal money in the federal student loan program, if you just put all that aside, there's a different set of rules and statutes to administer state, in New York State, tuition assistance program grants. So from the Higher Education Services Corporation, this is the state guarantee agency, the money in the TAP program, in the tuition assistance program, does not go directly to the student. It goes directly to the school. And the school is required to maintain and manage those accounts for the benefit of the student. So all the games that my medical school played, misconstruing words and facts and all that, just throw all that away. Of course, there's a fiduciary duty. The state gives money to the school to help a student pay their tuition, and the school is supposed to manage those business accounts for the benefit of the student. So of course there's a fiduciary duty. In my second year of medical school, I was not eligible to receive a state TAP grant. My medical school lied and said I was a full-time student when I wasn't. My medical school, I've been defamed by Dr. Raul Kaligdan. Dr. Raul Kaligdan works at Rikers Island Mental Health. He's a liar. He claimed that I was delusional because I thought the district attorney was after me. The district attorney is after me. The district attorney deliberately concealed evidence that vindicated me. After Jersey City Medical Center concealed my educational records from me in February of 2009, there was a subpoena in Manhattan Criminal Court in July of 2009, and my records went to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and those records that vindicated me were deliberately concealed from me. My medical school had a police officer lie on the witness stand. Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro lied to a judge, and I've posted that evidence on the blog site Crooked Doctors. So there is a blog site called Crooked Doctors that's associated with this program where I'm posting the evidence for you to review at your convenience. There's another doctor at Rikers Island Mental Health named Dr. Gormis, and she claimed that I was delusional, that I had the false belief that my medical school was persecuting me. My medical school is persecuting me, and here's one example. I applied for federal work study money when I was a medical student. So I'm at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, and I'm eligible for federal work study money. And when I asked for it, I was told lie after lie after lie. Ultimately, my school refused to provide me with federal work study money. Everybody gets this money. It's like a no-brainer. You go down to your college. If you've ever gone to college or to a university, you go down to the financial aid office. You fill out a form. Everybody gets. You'd be hard pressed not to get federal work study money if you wanted to work a job. My medical school refused to provide these funds to me illegally, and when I called them on it, they said, "Oh, we've spent the money on a first-come, first-served basis. So we're not persecuting you, Miss Radin. We just ran out of money." That's a lie. That's not how federal work study money is administered. The way federal work study money is administered by law is that everybody puts in an application. All eligible students will put in an application, and then the money is distributed evenly among that applicant pool. And by the way, a major university like Yeshiva University would never run out of available funds for federal work study money. So that's just another lie. Is my medical school persecuting me? Yes, they've been persecuting me since day one because I was never wanted at the school. I was used as a token in the admissions process to demonstrate diversity, and once I got into the school, then I was railroaded out. So I was let in the front door to be railroaded out the back door. I was hired to be fired. And I've actually seen this in the business world where presidents of companies will want to protect themselves against bad sales. So what they do is they can sort of manage or stall any accountability for like at least a year or two while they go to their board of directors and say, well, we have to hire a sales director, and it's going to take like 6 months to a year to hire somebody, and then we got to give that person some time to do something. And so eventually, usually a president of a company can stall for about 2 years to cover up for failing sales, because they'll hire a sales director and then make that his problem, and then when the sales director can't pull it off, they'll fire him. So at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, I was hired to be fired, and my job there was to satisfy the diversity requirement. I wasn't Jewish, I was older, I was unmarried, I had minority student status. I satisfied the diversity requirements for lots of different reasons. As I said, I was granted minority student status based on socioeconomic reasons.